Okay. Anything YouTube, so you can share it soon. Yeah, I'll do it. So stop share and then share again. So share this one and right here. This one. YouTube channel. Thank you. We'll just keep that since we don't have all that code. Okay, we're gonna get the next bit. And share, right? Yeah. Make sure it's okay. Take care of this. So, right. It's already there. It's already there. Okay, yes. Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome to AMSET session. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here. AMSET stands for, as you see on the screen, Association of Muslim Scientists, Engineers, and Technology Professionals. So today we have two different talks. Inshallah, we'll start with the first talk, which is understanding the Quran using natural language processing and AI. So before that, would like to say a few words about AMSET and what it does and what it tries to promote. So inshallah, with that, I'll just go over quickly on this very short presentation, if you could bear with me. It is registered in Indiana, although we're trying to get across to other states, inshallah ta'ala. So we have number of social media outlets, namely we have Google Groups. If you want to subscribe to our Google Groups, you'll get updates on different events that AMSET does. And we also have a YouTube channel. As you see here, we have a number of lectures recorded there in different topics. We have webinars that we broadcast every other month. Those are all recorded and stored in this YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook page, as well as LinkedIn, Twitter, and a website that is amsetweb.net. We have some information there as well. My name is Sohail Anwar. I'm in the professional life, I'm a professor at the Purdue University Indianapolis campus. Also current president of AMSET. Dr. Affan Badr, a professor. I'm sorry. Dr. Affan Badr is also a professor at Indiana State. He's the past president. We have Professor Tahir Saif, who is walking in right now. He's also on the speakers today. He's the vice president of the organization. He's a professor of mechanical and science and engineering at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. We also have a secretary of our organization, Rashid Rabbi. I'm not sure if he's here today or not. Okay. Sure. Also, we have Treasurer Asad Muhammad and our advisor, who has been a long time, who has tremendous dedication to this organization, and without him, it wouldn't be here where we're right now. Dr. Masroor Shah. So with that, I'll just briefly go through this. It originated a long time ago, and the basic idea is to promote science and technology amongst American Muslim youth and also adults, to have them network in different forums like this, as well as improve the understanding of science and technology in the light of Islam. There are also different issues that can come up. For example, stem cells usage. How does that that impacts our life? But what's the what is the Islamic perspective on that? Similarly, we also have mentioned a few other things such as 3D printing of tissues and organs. What's the Islamic point of view on that? Technological applications of medicine, climate change, evolution, AI, and its different usage. So those are some of the things we'd like to bring out and provide some insight to scientists and scholars in this area. So we have different events, and mostly we are concentrated on this particular event. But as we have said, we have monthly or bi-monthly webinars that we broadcast through YouTube channel. During the COVID period, we also had sessions on how to safeguard ourselves from this pandemic, and we have different speakers come on and talk about how to devise like masks or how to use the mask and so on from a scientific standpoint. So with that, I'll end my talk. But if you are interested to become a member, please, you can contact me and or any of the members or officials of AMSET. I'll be happy to put it in our Google group. So we encourage you to become a member, and also if you're from other states, you can establish a chapter, promote the cause of science and technology. Promote the science and technology amongst our youth and professionals. We had planned for a high school or a school level robotic competition, which we would like to start. It hadn't happened this year, but hopefully, inshallah, will start next year. So that's a brief introduction. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce my first speaker, Brother Mo Medwani. He's the founder of Big Bang, Big Bang Data Science, and he will be talking about this first talk, which is understanding Holy Quran using natural language processing. Brother Mo.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحان لا ما فهمت لنا إلا ما فهمت لنا إنك أنت الجواد الحكيم. وصلى اللهم وسلم على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure to be here, flying from Atlanta, to share with you my humble experience in the field of data science and artificial intelligence. But before I start, I would love to share my story with you, how I became a data scientist, which is probably could be a motivation for you all. Data science is the future. If you don't have data science in your plate, most likely you are going to have problems finding a job in the future. I promise you. This is not my word, but the word of experience. I used to work for a big company in Atlanta since from 2009 almost to 2014. My title was Service Delivery Analyst. I was a liaison between IT and the business. I was the person behind any all the management, incident management, problem management, change management, request management, just name it. And something happened in July of 2014. HR changed my title from Service Delivery Analyst to Data Analyst. Even though Service Delivery Analyst and Data Analyst, they have analytics in common, but they are two different animals. Unfortunately, at that time, they hired a new IT director who decided probably to show the business that she was a good fit for that position. So she started fixing things, and she started with me. She probably looked into my salary and my title. They don't match, and she started giving problems. So she assigned a project to me based on the new title, which I was not aware of. And I knew I was just very, very close to lose my job. And trust me, you cannot imagine the feeling I had in that one morning back in September, 22nd September of 2014. She came to my office after, of course, I struggled with the project. I did not finish the project within the time frame and within the budget. She came that one morning to my office. She took my badge. She took my laptop, my badge. She shut down access to whatever I had access to, and she kicked me out. Then I was driving that morning, crying, because now I have a family. I have 3 kids. I was thinking about how I can keep the family under the roof, bring the food to the table. It was a nightmare. I thought myself, this is it for IT. No more IT. I'm done. So I lost the faith on myself, and I'm done with IT. No more IT. At that time, I had 2 masters. I had an MBA. I had the master in IT. So once I get home, I asked myself a very simple question: why I lost my job? And the answer, because I was a victim of what we called analytics. At that time, I did not know anything about data science. I did not know even there is something called data science or artificial intelligence. I did not know anything about Tableau, Python, or any technologies around it. So I decided to learn, because I lost my job because of analytics. I decided to learn analytics regardless of what's going to cost me. Alhamdulillah, I went for my 3rd master in analytics at Maryland University, then my 4th master in machine learning at Columbia University, my PhD in artificial intelligence with concentration on NLP. Alhamdulillah, I am now a professor of data science at Mercer University. And also I'm a professor of data science at Columbia State University. I work for the government, and I am a founder of Big Bang Data Science Solutions. It's a startup based in Atlanta, Georgia. Founder of Africa Analytics, startup based in Senegal, Dakar, and founder of Arabitics. It's a company based in Morocco. So from nowhere to Alhamdulillah where I am, and here I'm here sharing the story with you. So the reason why I'm sharing this story, because I know data science is the future, and if you don't learn it, it is going to be too late for you. Prepare to hear the music. Prepare to be a victim of analytics. Unfortunately, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, they are stealing jobs from us. Everything would be automated within a couple of years from now. If you don't prepare yourself for that, then prepare to hear the music. So today we are going to do a subset of data science. It's called NLP, which stands for natural language processing. I need to share my screen first. So please bear with me. And I can share this. Okay. So we are going to do a demo. Let's first we'll talk about what is NLP. I know most of you guys might not know what is NLP. So I will take you through very quick because I have only 1 hour and they have a lot to share with you, unfortunately. So I have to cut everything to try to fit into the 50 or 40 minutes that I have. So you're not sharing? Okay. So we'll talk about NLP, and also we are going to do a demo. I can share the file with you if you are interested. Unfortunately, it's too late to do that, and you don't have laptops. But I'm going to share with you the file, so please try to contact me after the class. I will be more than happy to share the file so you can play with it. So today I'm going to give you a taste of what we could do with data science in general, and specifically with NLP, which stands for natural language processing. So we are living under mountains. We are generating mountains of data every day. And 90% of the data that has been generated worldwide today, it has been created in the last 2 years. And 90% of that data is unstructured data. It's PDF, PDF files, text files, and also it's video and pictures. Okay, so to make sure that. So data science is a process. We first, as data scientists, we start understanding the problem. So that is, if you don't understand the problem, of course, you are not going to design a solution using artificial intelligence. So the first thing we do as data scientists / data analysts is understanding what is the problem. Then after we have a clear understanding of the problem, we acquire the data, and the data could be anything, could be a spreadsheet, CSV file, TSV file. It could be images, it could be any data. And so our job is to read the data into whatever tools that we are using. In our case, we are going to use Python programming language, and try to spend time understand the data, applying ADA, data analysis, applying some statistical analysis, applying descriptive analytics, trying to understand every bit of the data. So once we have a clue of what the data that we have, of course, this data could be a raw data. We have to try to bring it to a certain assumption so we can utilize it for prediction. So we have to handle the quality of data in terms of finding duplicates, finding missing values, finding outliers, finding any discrepancies, any problems in terms of the quality. So unfortunately, the machine learning can take any data, but it's garbage in, garbage out. If you were to feed garbage data into machine learning, then of course we are going to expect only garbage. And it happened. In one of the U.S. airports. It's called the racist soap dispenser. You might heard about this in the past. Yes. This is a very good example of what the machine learning could do if you were to feed into it a data that is biased. Watch this. And I know for sure some of you might be very offended if this happens to you. This is if you have black, dark skin, no stuff for you. White skin, there is stuff for you. Why? This is nothing wrong with the machine learning, but the data that we feed it in the machine learning was biased. So that is very important as data scientist is number one, to prepare, to process, make the data ready for analytics. Otherwise, we are going to get a danger, something like that. And this happens everywhere. If you have wrong data or the data is not prepared well, prepare to have something like this. And there is another problem that I would love to share with you. It's called Zillow scandal. During COVID time, Zillow, they have data science department. This data science department, they predicted that there is going to be a need of probably 3,000 plus houses. So Zillow, they went ahead and they purchased these houses, and guess what? They ended up selling no house, and they fired the entire department. Why is that? Because the data scientists have prepared the prediction. They used a biased data. So preparing the data is very important for a successful analytics, and that is phase number 2 of whatever the process you are using to build your analytics. So we start with understanding the problem. Then we move into acquiring the data, understanding data. Then we move into preparing this data to avoid creating any biased solution like the way you just saw. And after that, we build a machine learning model. We could build a classification model, regression model, reinforcement model, NLP models, etc. Then optimize the model and deploy the model into production. So this is the life of data scientists. This is the 6 years job of the 21st century. If you Google it, just Google what is the 6 years job of the 21st century, the data science is going to come first. It's less stressful, the less stressful job that you could acquire. Okay, so now we are going to move into the most important, that is natural language processing. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time. So I need to control my time. It's, oh my God, says. Okay, so I got only, I believe 30 minutes. So what is natural language processing, NLP? So NLP refers to the branch of computer science, and more specifically, the branch of artificial intelligence that concentrates with text and speech. So anything that is text, anything that is speech, NLP is the branch of computer science, a branch of artificial intelligence that we can utilize to process it and extract meaning out of it. So I'm going to skip a lot. So in this natural language processing is 2 parts, NLU and NLG. NLU stands for natural language understanding, and NLU stands for natural language generation. And they are two different animals. So I'm going to skip a lot of this because I really want to get into the point. I'm going to skip a lot of this. So the component of NLU, I'll give you an example. So there are 2 components of NLP, natural language processing. NLU stands for natural language understanding. An example of this natural language process understanding is classifying an email as a spam or not spam. We could use the NLU, which is part of which is a branch of NLP. Then classifying movie reviews as positive or negative. classify in legal document as relevant, not irrelevant. It's a very simple thing that we could use. And so the NLU is not that complicated, it's not that deep, but still it's useful in making decisions on something. And as a matter of fact, data science in general does not solve problems. Data science and artificial intelligence, they don't solve problems. They simply help us as a human make a better decision solving problems. So we're going to move into an example of NLG, natural language processing, is an image captioning. So if you have an image, the system could tell you by simply looking at the image what is in that image. So it could describe what it sees in that image. Of course, we have to train the system on millions and millions of pictures before it detects with higher accuracy than the value or the what is in those pictures or images. So NLG is we could use image captioning. We could use text summarization. You could say a word. You could say a sentence. I can tell you with accuracy what would be your next sentence before you say it. But I have to train a system on millions of texts. And when you say a word like, for example, I came from Atlanta to prepare this presentation at ISNA, I can tell what would be my next sentence with 90% accuracy. How amazing is that? As a matter of fact, with NLG, they already produced a book using NLG. It's written by a machine itself, and almost close to what a human could produce. Okay, questioning answers chatbots. That is another tool that we could use with NLG. And you might see this sometimes you want to book something online. There is no one out there to answer your questions, but there is a chatbot that answers any question that you have on the service with 100% accuracy. But how they know this? It's been trained on millions and millions of conversations. That is how the way they learn. Okay, language translation. Now, if you want, now you don't nowadays you don't really need to learn in another international or foreign language. There are a lot of apps that can translate with 100% accuracy, way better than human. So yes, that is another example of NLG. So I think that's it. Pipeline. I'm gonna skip this. For NLP, for any text, if you want to analyze it, of course, that text could have a lot of garbage in it, a lot of relevant things. So there is a process that we follow as data scientists to transform a text, that is to make a text ready for analytics. So number one, we need to remove, we need to tokenize it. Means if you have a text, a paragraph of 200 sentences, for example, or just 20 sentences, and we want to analyze this paragraph. So the first thing we do is we need to tokenize. We need to split this paragraph into words or into sentences, make it searchable. So we can look through every single word to determine if this word should be in the text or should be removed. So we need to tokenize it. We need to remove anything that is punctuations. Punctuations wouldn't add any value to analysis. Am I talking fast? Are you good? Thank you. Well, my professor before a long time ago told me, Mo, you need to speak slowly and loud. So if I'm driving fast, please stop me. So yes, we need to tokenize, means split into words so we can search through them, number one. Number two, we need to remove anything that is punctuations, any words, any numbers. We need only to keep text. And also we need to remove what we call stop words, like where, when, how, who. These are the stop words or the most common words. And now we need to stem. If you have a word like loving, loved, and love, it's one stem. So we need to remove AD, ING, and keep only the word LOV. And finally, we need to normalize. We need to transform any text to rows and columns using different techniques. So this is simply an overview of what is NLP, and unfortunately, run of the time, so I won't be able to explain this bit by bit. So now we are going to move into a demo. Hopefully, I have time. So the demo is about the Quran and the Bible, and this is not by any means a religious topic. So please don't copy me wrong. This is simply a demo of how we can utilize artificial intelligence to understand some of the books, especially the Quran and the Bible. So I don't know how familiar you are with Python. I am not going to explain the codes because this is going to consume a lot of time. I will simply random and talk a bit about them. But if you are interested in knowing the logic behind the codes, I don't have any problems doing one-to-one session with you the other time. And as a matter of fact, I am teaching data science online. I have trained so far, alhamdulillah, more than 8,000 data scientists across the globe. Most of them, they ended up having a job. One of them got a job with Amazon for 220,000 per annum. So that is how great the programs that we offer online. Anyhow, so now we have two texts. We got the Quran and the Bible. They are both in English. And this is, I don't consider, this is just my opinion, you could argue with me. I don't consider the translation of the Quran is a Quran. It's a translation of the Quran because that's not the word of God anymore. That's translation of someone. So the word of God are in Arabic. So whatever we could find during this translation might not be accurate. So we have the Bible in English and we have the translation of the Quran in English also. The first thing we gotta do is we are going to import all the packages and the modules that we are going to use. We're going to run it very quick. Yeah, very quick. Of course, please don't ask me what is NumPy, what is Pandas. This is garbage for you now. This is gibberish. The most important is get to the point. So we are going to read the Quran. It's a Holy Quran, Talal translation. And we are going to create a variable called Quran, and I'm going to store in it the Quran. So this Quran has 816,923 words. Then I'm going to read the Bible. So we are going to have two books now, the Quran, the Bible. The Bible is 4,452,067. It's almost, I would say, almost 3 times or 4 times the size of the Quran. Okay, so now we have the Quran. Also, I'm going to read another Quran, another version. This is a structured Quran, and we are going to look into. I have 3 versions of the Quran. I have the Arabic, the English translation of the Quran. I have the Arabic version of the Quran, and also I have the Quran in the structured format. So this is the Quran in the structured format. So now we are going to look into the distribution of surahs versus the ayat. PLT. Locked. Yeah, fine. Okay. It's yelling at me because I didn't have the library. Now it should work. Here we go. Yeah, this is the distribution. The first. I think I should make this bigger. But so the first ayah, this is the Surah Al-Fatiha, and it has a few. This is Surah Al-Fatiha. It has few ayats. Then the second is Al-Baqarah. Al-Baqarah, it has more ayats. Then go down to the second, third. Anyway, so this is the distribution of the number of surahs, number of ayat per surah. Okay, this is simply a simple touch on what is how the ayats are distributed of the surah of the Quran. So now let's take a look into what is the most common. What is the most? This picture here is called a word cloud. It does present the most frequent word in the Quran, and as you see, we got earth, we got God, they, will, people, believe, said. If you look into this, this frequency, some of the words, they don't mean anything. They are called stop words, like the word said. We have to remove it. We are going to keep, like we are going to remove said, say, where, how, when. These are the most common words. Common words have to be removed because they wouldn't add any value to the analysis. So we could zoom in, if we were to zoom in into this, the frequency of the Quran. Zoom again. So these are the most common words in the Quran. Say, said, will. So we need to remove will, we need to remove said, say, we need to keep only the most important words. Like they is an important word, believe, earth, will, God. You see God, G-O-D, I mean, it's higher, the bigger word, the more frequent word of the Quran. So with one click, you could tell what is exactly in the entire book called the Quran. In the Arabic version, we cannot remove they, say, or we cannot remove anything because everything in the Arabic word is a word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we cannot remove it. There's no, I don't believe there is stop words in the Arabic version. But in English, we could remove these stop words. They are called common words. So this is the Quran. We are going to do the same for the Bible. Yeah, we already read the Bible. And for the Bible, this is an all the English. It said, Israel, Lord, God, unto, they, people, son, yea. So we need to remove this, the common words like yea, unto, said, will, to keep only, yes, sir. So I cannot hear you, sir. Words of what? Verbs. No, I mean, we probably, while I was talking about these stop words. Stop words is any common words that we use in daily life that does not mean anything, like where in English. I believe it's 216 words in English, like where, when, how, why, what, are, is, she, he. These are the common words. If you have these words in any text, at any value, you are going to see them as the most frequent words, but they don't have a value. So we need to remove them. And the same we are going to do for the English version of the Quran. In the Arabic version, you cannot remove them because they are true word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Clear, brother? Okay, my apologies. So yes, so this is the most frequent word in the Bible. And we could zoom in also. And as you see here, this is this is the ancient English. There's a lot of words that now they're already obsolete, like unto. We need to remove unto, will, said, unto again, said, put, went, and we are going to keep only the most frequent words. And we are going to compare the Quran and the Bible. And you are going to see, except few words, that the Quran and the Bible, they are from the same source. You can tell using the artificial intelligence. So before we proceed with the Quran and the Bible, we need to remove stop words, We need to remove punctuations, if any. We need to remove any special characters. We need to keep only the words that would have a meaning in our analysis. Please bear with me. I need to install a package very quick. Okay, now if I run it again, it's going to run. Okay, so I'm going to skip all of these codes. I want to get to the point. So all we did now is removing all the punctuations, removing stop words from the version of the Quran. And now we are going to look into the most frequent words of the Quran. Also, I'll do my best, yes. So here we go. So this is the frequency of the most frequent words in the Quran. As you see, the most frequent word is God. We got 3,533 words of God in the Quran, followed by people, they, believe, earth, and gods, and one. And this is the most frequent word in the Quran, English version. And compare this with the Bible. We are going to do the same thing with the Bible. Very quick, I know I'm running out of the time. Just give me one more. So here we go. So this is the Bible text, Bible frequency, and we are going to compare it with the English, with the Quran. So as you see, in the Quran, we got God, 3,533, and the Bible we got God as the first. People in the Quran, and the man in the Bible. They, then Israel the third. We got they in there. We got people in there. We got they in there. We got one. So as you see, most of the most frequent words in the Bible, they are the same as the most frequent word in the Quran. They go apart when it comes to believing that Jesus is the Son of God, and this is where they go apart. But the Bible and the Quran, they are from the same source. Unfortunately, that's it. Okay, unfortunately, I have a lot to share, talk about. I have the bottom, the Arabic version, but I gotta stop here. I simply try to give you a taste of what this NLP is. Beautiful, by the way. You are gonna love it regardless of your age, regardless of your background, I promise you. I started from nowhere, and alhamdulillah, here I am, and sharing my humble experience with you. Thank you guys for your attention, and my sincerest apologies for not being able to finish the time. Thank you. Salam alaikum. Yes, sir.
Yes, so I think I read some papers that did analysis in the past. I was wondering if this program can generate
Yes, I'm having, I have down the road Arabic version, but it's just descriptive analytics, trying to find the largest area, trying to compare words between two areas, etc. Of course, we could do prediction. We could go beyond that to determine what would be what would be the sentiment analysis for a certain for two different areas within different contexts. So we could do so many things. You could now if you have the ability, but what I have right now is simply descriptive analytics, and the answer is yes, you can go beyond that. Questions, please? If you need the files and presentations, I don't have any problem doing that. And please contact me. My website is, this is my website, bbds.ma. Please reach out to me. And I will, so this is my website. And this is my phone number. Yeah. This is my phone number, 678-209-9780. And my name is Ridwani. Reach out to me. By tonight, you should get the files if needed. 678-209-9780, and we are based in Atlanta, Georgia. And the website is BBDS, very short, bbds.ma. BBDS stands for Big Bang Data Science Solutions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get your talk, and I hope that more on this thing, and again, we'll have I have contact information. We also share you can contact me directly. Also, this particular lecture is going to be available on YouTube channel, AMSET channel. I shared before, but I will do it again after the second knowledge, inshallah. So let's give another round of applause for Brother Ridwani. So our second speaker, talk is about physical exercise and mental health. And our speaker is Professor Sahir Said. He is chair professor at the University of Campaign in the Department of Science and Engineering. So with that, I'll give it to Professor Said.
Okay, assalamu alaikum, everybody. There is something here. Okay, assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is a topic that I think is relevant for all of us, particularly for people like me, getting older, and we begin to think about, how to keep our mental health in good shape as well as overall health. So I hope this will help. This is a topic that I have been working on for the last 3 years or so. So disclosure, I don't know much about this, but I hope at least there is something that you can take home from here. So physical exercise and mental health, we all know this is kind of related. Is it real? Is it myth? That's the question we would ask. So this has been funded by the National Institute for Neurological Disorders and Stroke for the last 3 years. And my students and postdocs are somehow their names are not showing up here. It has become smaller now. Okay. Right. So Justin Rhodes is my collaborator from neuroscience, and Kyun Lee is my current graduate student. Okay, so how do we go to the next slide? Oh, I think I did it now. So, people have been thinking about exercise and mental health for a long time. So there are a couple of look back. Long time ago, Cicero, who was one of the intellectuals during the Roman time, he said, it is exercise alone that supports the spirits and keeps the mind in vigor. So people were given this notion for a long time. And of course, John Adams, one of the second president of the United States, also realized that exercise invigorates and enlightens our mind and body. So good things about exercise, but not everybody agrees. What you will see is even some of the very well-known scholars and thinkers, they felt that this is not the case. Like, for example, Mark Twain, I take my only exercise acting as pallbearer at the funerals of my exercise regularly. So Mark Twain, those who are familiar with his writings in a very satirical way, hearts the exercise. And also Henry Ford didn't believe in exercise and mental health. So let's see what science tells us today. So what are the scientific observations? And this is where I think we need to take a look at it much more carefully. So what we know today over the last 50 years or so, that exercise among children makes a very big difference. So aerobic exercise increases the mathematical achievement. So those children who are regularly exercised, their amount of exercise is highly correlated with the mathematical abilities as well as the reading achievement. This is a large-scale study for the aerobic exercise. Now, those who are like myself getting old, for us, this is a very relevant data. So it turns out that for people at the adult age, mostly about 65 and older, it appears that more people exercise aerobically, their executive capacity, their locational capacity, so identifying the spaces, okay, increases with the amount of exercise they do. The speed by which they can reach a decision significantly improves with the exercise. This is above the age of 65 and above. So those who are getting old, myself included, there is still hope that exercise can significantly improve the mental capability as well as mental health. So this is empirical observation. So what is the deeper roots? And I wanted to bring this up to this crowd, particularly in Islam, because I think as I look back into the studies, I realized that how much we have to appreciate Allah's blessings in our lives, how complex we are, and how our life and design of our being has been evolved over time through his blessings. So why exercise help? How does it help? What is the underlying principle? So if you think about the brain and its evolution in our understanding of the evolution, so most neurology departments, you will see a skull like this, a picture like this, where each segment of the brain is identified with a specific function, like anger, happiness, kind of behavior. So people thought that each part of the brain doing its own job. That was the 19th century and above, or earlier. But in the 20th century, Brodmann and others, they identified that there are about 38 segments in the brain, and each one is connected to the other, and they combinedly do their job. More recently, people think that actually when the neurons connect with each other, at the synapses, where the neurons meet with each other, that's where most of the memory and learning happens. So there are trillions of those connections in the brain. And so each one is contributing to our understanding to the memory and learning process. So this connectivism, the cellular connectivism, is the modern view of how our memory works and how we learn. So that raises the question that how come we are so many in this world? How come we are so different from one another? If our brain is so well structured, if the neurons are all knowing each other if the structure is so well defined, we have billions of people in the world. How come we are so different from one another? This was a paradox for about 100 years in neuroscience. So how this precise circuitry leads to individuality? How come we are so different? This is an amazing question that I don't think we can resolve, or our human beings or human intellectual abilities can resolve. And this is where we begin to ponder about, what has led to our being in this world. But partially the answer has been resolved by two famous neuroscience physiologists, Raymond Cajal, Spanish, and Koronowski is Hungarian, a Polish, I beg your pardon, Polish scientist. So they introduced the concept of plasticity. So every single synapse, when they make the connection between the two neurons, they are the ones which learn based on how we are growing up. So my growing up history is not the same as any of yours. Every day that we have learned new things are different from each other's. And that's where each synapse is actually encoding that information day by day. So I want to build these fundamental backgrounds as we approach the concept of exercise. So if you think about, see, this is the problem of not using PowerPoint in own computer. Okay. Skip this, I know you're short of time, but just briefly, most fundamental level, when the neurons connect with other neurons, there is an action potential or the electric field that goes and then triggers the other neurons, and that's how the information is passed. So the moment I talk to you, the moment I'm thinking, there are billions of neurons are firing inside the brain and directing what I'm going to say in the next moment. It's an amazing capability that we have that no other animals have. So it's a very special privilege that we have as human beings. Escape button. Okay. So coming back to the question of exercise, how does exercise help in this background, in this context? So we have one part of the brain, which is called hippocampus, which is sitting right in the middle of the brain, it's a small part of the brain. So this is where what we know today is the information is processed and memory and learning happens. So the key component of the brain where memory and learning happens is what is known as hippocampus. So this is the schematic for human brain, and this is the actual image, MRI image from a mouse brain, the hippocampal part. So again, the question that we ask is how exercise can help. Right? That's the basic question. So what we know that as we age, the size of our hippocampus goes down. This is the aging effect. As we age, so we have two hippocampi, one is left, one in the right side of the brain. So because of the aging, during aging, we lose about 1 to 2% of the hippocampus volume per year after the age of 60, or sometimes even earlier. So as the volume goes down, what means this potentially the number of neurons is going down, or some of the neurons may be dying, or some of the supporting cells, which are glial cells, are also not proliferating or dying. So the volume goes down. Neurons are the ones where the information is processed, where we learn things, where we remember things. So if we don't remember things, there's something what we call dementia, which is one of the signs of Alzheimer's disease, which is also quite correlated with the decreasing size of the hippocampal volume because the neurons are being lost. Now, what happens is if you do exercise, and this is a trial with a large number of population, if you exercise, then actually the hippocampal volume not only remains constant, but actually increases. More and more neurons get added to the hippocampus, which means that, so both left and right, both of the hippocampus. So the number of neurons actually increase inside the hippocampus. So how much exercise? Very simple, only 40 minutes a walk, 40 minutes a day walking. You have a question?
I was wondering this.
The aging goes, the aging effect of going down starts around 60 or something 55 or so. So this was done for the people age of 65 and above. So let's say on the 65th birthday or 65th birthday, this was the volume going down, and then another population doing exercise, 40 minutes walking every day. fast walking, not slow walking. Aerobic exercise increases the volume. So that gives us a very deep scientific reason why exercise might help. So now the question is, if the volume goes up because of the exercise, then what is the origin of this volume change? Where can this volume change can happen? So there are quite a few cells in the brain, in hippocampus. So there are neurons, of course, there are the glial cells, there are the supporting cells for the neurons, and there are neural stem cells. All of you are familiar with stem cells. So there are neural stem cells. So these are the cells that are waiting to get the command to become a type of cells that we need. So in the brain, the neural stem cells are ready to become new neurons or helping cells, the glial cells. So the only way the volume can change is if neural cells, the stem cells become new neurons, what we call neurogenesis, or it can become new glial cells called gliogenesis. There's only two sources because the neurons do not divide, unlike other type of cells. 5 minutes, maybe. So the question is then, how does the neural cells divide? So if they have to divide, so somehow the exercise must be sending a signal. So when we walk for 40 minutes a day, fast walking or other aerobic exercise, somehow the contraction of the muscles that we would have, whether it's fast walking or running, the muscle contraction is somehow sending this signal to the neural stem cells, which is sitting deep inside the brain, that now you divide, or now you become neuron cells, or become the glial cells to increase the volume. So this is an extremely long distance communication between the muscles that is exercising during running all the way to the neural cells in the brain. So the question we asked is by putting same cells in a petri dish. So imagine I have a muscle tissue in a petri dish away from a petri dish with the neural cells. So this is cells directly from the hippocampus, from the mice. So these are neuron cells, there are glial cells, they're there. So in short, what we find is that when you take the muscle exercising and give this, whatever the secret of the media back to the dish, what we find is the most striking. And this is the result that I have not published yet. I thought this is the first crowd to get it. So what we find is that there are more astrocytes, there are more neurons, and the neurons begin to fire a lot more. This is a firing pattern, a lot more. So initially, if they were firing here, now they are firing a lot more. And I skipped most of the data because I think the time is short. So essentially what happens is that the muscles, when they're going to the exercise, they release some biochemicals. And those biochemicals reach the hippocampus and activates the astrocytes or the glial cells. That activation simply means that the contraction that was going on in the muscle, these astrocytes also become contractile. They also become like they're also doing the exercise. It's an amazing coincidence. They seem to go into this exercise mode because they also contract mechanically, physically. And when they contract, they begin to release some biochemicals that reach the neurons. And the neurons also go into this exercise mode of contraction. They not only contract, they start to fire more, and and they also promote the stem cells to become new neurons. And as a result, what we have, and as a result, what you have is neurogenesis. This is my last slide. What you have is, so the muscle contraction with exercise goes to the astrocytes, which activate the neurons, and you end up getting neurogenesis, which is the volume increase in the hippocampus. So the last slide is here. The message: exercise for 40 minutes every day, and really wonder about the blessings of Allah for health and mind, and be happy. I will finish it here. I think no time for question.
Sorry, I just found that this brother will need set up time of 15 minutes. He's, I think what he has for us, we are supposed to stop at 3:30. I know it's interesting topic, but I think Dr. Ressa will be around. If you have any questions, please ask him directly. I'm really sorry about not being able to
No problem.
questions
I'll be
here.
around. Yes.
And